and even now are homegrown players. Anybody up and coming that we should be keeping an eye out for in our farm system right now?
Actually, there are. There's several players. Many of our players are larger, or bigger prospects. Position players are down below in Lakewood and some in Reading. The same kind of holds true for our pitching as well. We have probably some of you have heard about Carlos Carrasco, who is a kid who's now pitching in Reading. We have another kid named Antonio Bastardo who just got sent from Clearwater to Reading. He's a left-hander, so we have a neat left-handed, right-handed combination in those two players. J.A. Happ has thrown quite well lately. If you remember, he had one start here, one brief start, and frankly did not pitch particularly well. He wasn't quite ready to pitch for us, but we were under kind of duress with regard to our starters at the time when we brought him and had him pitch. I think it was 2 doubleheaders back-to-back with the Mets. So we do have some pitching coming, and we do have some position players. Probably position player-wise, they're a little bit further beyond. We have a kid named Michael Taylor, who's also playing who's from my alma mater, Stanford, who's playing an outfielder who is with the Lakewood Club. And we also have a kid named Dominic Brown, who I think is probably our highest level prospect. He's a left-handed hitter, but many liken him to a youngster, Darryl Strawberry. So he's a real interesting kid. One other player who's a very young player who's playing in Lakewood and being challenged quite a bit offensively, but clearly can play defense right now in the big leagues, is a kid named Freddie Galvis, who's a shortstop in our system. So we do have some kids coming, and it is important. That's probably the most important part of our organization, and any organization, is to have homegrown talent and have the kind of talent that you can keep for a long time, which is basically what we have on our field right now. And Chase Utley and Jimmy Rollins, Pat Burrell, Myers, Matz, and I mean you can name a lot of them that came from within. Yes, and Pat.
Is there any pitchers, say another Kyle Kendrick in Double-A that is looking good?
Well, we're hoping that Carlos Carrasco, perhaps Bastardo, and even Happ, if he gets an opportunity, can fill in. I mean, there's certain circumstances that arise where there are 30 teams in the major leagues now. It's very difficult to provide your organization or your major league club with a lot of depth. But I think we've gotten to the point where these guys are getting closer to being major league ready guys. Kyle Kendrick, frankly, was not ready for the big leagues when he came to the big leagues, and lo and behold, he reels off 10 wins for us. So sometimes when guys are given opportunities, they take advantage of them. Yes?
Are you concerned with the slow start of the Iron Pigs?
I'm always concerned when we're 9-30 or whatever it is. But I think what's happened, unfortunately, in professional baseball in this day and age, the AAA clubs have become kind of one of those breeding grounds for like those 6-year free agent type players, which is what I was. Those kind of 4A, 3A players who you want to fill in with some of your prospects. We have Jason Jaramillo is a catching prospect for us. We don't have a whole lot of young, talented guys there, and it's just part of the development of there are a couple of reasons. One, we had some signings over the last several years that kind of cut into our draft. One year we didn't have our first draft until like the 3rd round. So consequently, when you have those types of situations occur, one bad draft can set you back a couple of years, and 2, 3, maybe even 4 years if you don't have a quality draft. And because we signed guys like Jim Thome, David Bell, you're kind of seeing what happens at the upper levels. Now, we've gotten a chance, not so that the reason why we have better players who are younger is because we had not had to sign those free agents. Consequently, we've had our drafts at the higher levels, and so we have more talent at the lower levels. But it is a concern, there's no question. We'd rather be picking from the AAA club because they're closer talent-wise to the major leagues. But the fact of the matter is, there are a lot of clubs, including ourselves, who brought guys from AA and had success. You had a question?
Is there any chance that Chad Durbin would get a shot at a starting spot, or is he strictly going to be used as a middle reliever?
It's actually something we've talked about quite a bit lately, in case someone were to falter. And frankly, our guys, other than Hamels, our starting rotation hasn't been particularly consistent. If someone were to falter to the point where we needed to make a change, we've considered Durbin. One of our biggest strengths has been our bullpen, and we're kind of a split camp because while some people on the field think that we should keep our bullpen intact the way it is, the way it sets up great for Charlie and for Dubes. There are others who think that maybe we should slide him into the rotation. My personal thought is that I'd like to keep him in the back of the bullpen and perhaps give a kid a chance if in fact we have a definite need for a starter. Yes?
Since it's Burrow's last year of his contract, do you have any plans for next year?
I was waiting for those. Who wants Burrow to stay?
Yeah, last
Burrow to stay because he's a good hitter, and not because he's good looking. Who likes the combo platter?
Last year it was food.
Pat, people have talked about Pat for a long time, and I've always liked Pat. I've always liked what he's brought to the table. A lot of people view him in a lot of different ways. Pat has grown into one of our leaders, and he's an important piece of our club. And I think he's our longest tenured Philly right now. And so you can talk a lot about the contract that he signed, but the fact of the matter is he's been pretty consistent. He's got over 25 home runs. He's averaged over 25 home runs and right around 100 RBIs every year. So he's been a very productive player for us. In fact, we're kicking around internally exactly how we're going to handle an extension with him, and it's very possible that we're going to have to go that route. You like to be able to have people challenged for those jobs, young players who are coming, but right now, the way things set up, we certainly have to consider it.
Do you wait until the end of the year, or do you actually start negotiations now?
That's private information. We would prefer to wait, but we understand that in this day and age, it may be best to strike when the iron's hot. That's pretty political. I'm working on my PC.